Gundam.tk presents High Grade Adele. Hey, what's up again, everybody? It's Robert184, 2Rs, 2Bs from GundamReviews.net. And as the second generation of Gundam Age continues, yes, the Federation needs a grunt, and you've seen the complete review of the Adele, and you may be confused if you haven't seen the earlier parts about why it's red. But remember, you can add on a whole bunch of things, including the G-Bouncer and the Sparrow parts to go along with the Titus parts that you see there. That's the AG, but now let me give you a list of all the good and bad things I could pick out about this kit so that you can make a call whether you want to pick it up for yourself. So let me run through some of the negatives first, with the first one being that when I took this out of the box, as you may have seen in the unbox, that there were some broken gray parts off in there, and that's an advantage. If you're buying your model kits at a small mom and pop shop or like a very friendly hobby shop, they'll often let you check out the box and open it up before you do that. You can't really do that in big retail shops like Yodobashi Camera or things like that. But anyway, if you can check it out, sadly you may just be passing the problem off to somebody else. But in my case, I had a few parts bumped out and they had ugly gashes on them, and because of that, I'm missing a part. So anyway, my rifle doesn't look quite right. Hopefully, 99.99% of people will not have that same problem. On to the problem that I think other people will have is that I didn't really know how repetitive this was going to be until I actually opened this up, because not only is it based on the Age 1, but you've got two of the three plates, the B and C, being identical. And when the fact is you've already built three high-grade Age kits if you're Age 1, if you're like me, that was a little bit disappointing until I actually started putting it together, but it may be off-putting for quite a few people. It does make sense though, of course, in universe. One thing that I'm really not a fan of though is that the shoulders don't seem to fit on there at all. You can see that the peg is going to be sticking out there. The Sparrow ones were no better when they're on there, and it just doesn't look right that you've got this cool looking body, very posable shoulders that can go up and down, front and back, and pretty cool shoulders, including the ability to bend up that flap and have the arms go all the way up, and yet they're just not going to fit all the way on the body. So from a lot of angles, well, I guess just straight on pretty much, you're not going to have the most attractive look there. Another thing that's a little bit disappointing, you've got the face that you may have seen in the previous part, that without the mask on, it looks great. You've got 4 different color seals on there. You don't have to paint it up. It's even got black lines around the shiny gold eyes. Really cool stuff that you're probably never going to see, because it just seems like that the clear blue that they use for the face mask, whether that's for the high grade or the advanced grade or things like that, that it's just a little bit too dark. And anyway, they went to the trouble of putting details underneath that are sadly going to be lost. Now, even though I am missing a part for the gray rifle, it does seem a little bit dull. However, that is fitting for a gruntish suit. It can't be as cool as the Age 1 normal, you'd think. On the legs, you can see that the ankles can be a little bit problematic, as they were with the Age 1. You may have a great pose and then everything's looking right up top, and then when you go and take a look at the bottom, you'll see that one of the ankles is off kilter. It's very easy to get there, but on the plus side, it can look very cool when you've got it in the right place. And something that I can't be too big a fan of, it's great that they give you these black seals to go all over. It sort of adds just that extra color to go along with the teal, white, and gray. But it's a little bit unfortunate that they are putting it on rounded parts. It's not a problem on the face, especially when you cover it up and you're not going to see it anyway. But you can just imagine that over time, these ones here that are on the front of the shins may teal up, and that's not going to be the best thing. Another issue is just with the waist skirts in general. You can see with the Age 1 normal, there was a lot of attention paid to them. Individual parts, extra colors added on. With this one, it's just a cheap back plate and a cheap front plate, which combined with the back power of the beam sabers, you're going to have multiple colors on some of the high-grade Ages, but with this one, it's just going to be one solid one, and the blue looks a little bit funny with the white arm covers. And overall, the side skirts are not going to work that well when you put on the Titus legs, because remember, the Titus is supposed to have free movement here up and down, and it's got this red part built into it. So overall, it's not going to work 100% in all 3 modes. But to the positives, and I gotta say that there's a lot. The first one being, yes, it was repetitive in some parts, but overall it was a lot of fun to put this guy together. The high-grade Age kits they've got such great technology in them despite their small size, 1/144th. And overall it was fun putting it together. I was excited to see where all the things were gonna go, how the legs were gonna work, where the seals went. Little details like the backpack being easy to take on and off. It was a lot of fun. When you combine that with good looks, and that comes in no small part thanks to the great color scheme. I've had friends who know nothing about Gundams, they've seen this one and they're like, hey, that's a pretty cool looking color. And I would agree. It's also got some good lighting opportunities all over the place. If you want to put some black on the teal, it's going to look pretty sharp, I'd say. It's also going to be as posable as the high-grade Age 1 normal, which I was blown away with when I first saw that. The weapons are going to be pretty much as expected. I like the shield on the normal, and of course I like it on here. because it's got the right colors. The rifle is what you'd expect for a grunt, and the beam sabers, a little bit disappointing that they used the fourth color, or the ability to put that extra color on the A-plate to use beam sabers. That could have been separate. Maybe we could have got a little bit of black, which would have made these black seals come out. But overall, I think the colors are great, the great posability, you can do lots of things with him. Put him up aerial because of course he's got the connector for the action base too. Everything's good. Now one thing that's a big bonus is when I was putting it together is just the face is fantastic under the shield, or under the cover. It is unfortunate that you don't see it, but the best parts have to be just the fact that you've got all this extra playability in the form of, if you want to put together teams, we saw the G-Bouncer debut with some Adele, sorry. They were bouncing around like rabbits, which was pretty funny, but the fact is, if you were inclined to buy them both at the same time, you've got this backpack with an ingenious design attachment on there, and it really looks good. I thought it would be a little bit too white, but overall, it looks great from the front and back. And the best part still just has to be the Age 1 normal. It had this great wear system. The Age 2, the double bullet, will be showing up soon. But in the meantime, the ability to take the Sparrow parts and the Titus parts, it made sense that it worked for the Age 1 in-universe, so why not have it work for both this in-universe and in the model form? Can't wait to see that in the anime. Like I said, I wonder if it's going to be the Divas ones or the generic ones that do it. But what about putting normal parts on there? That would make sense overall. But my final verdict has to be positive for this. It's only 1,200 yen, double the price of the advanced grade, but you're getting so much more, including the proper colors for the legs, a lot of fun build, the head is going to look great with all those seals on there. Playability, combined the fact that it's got everything extra from the G-Bouncer and the Titus and the Sparrow. And I think for 1,200 yen, if you do happen to be owning all these, I wouldn't rush out and buy these plus the G-Bouncer just to make this guy a better kit. But if you happen to have them around like me, certainly it captures the power of the anime. It is a grunt, it's designed to blow up and everything, but I think they got the looks just right, that it looks a quarter century newer than the Age 1 normal, and yet it still looks like it can be chopped down by Zayhart without hesitation. Anyway, everybody, why don't you let me know what you think of this verdict down below, and future speculation, I wonder what we could be having. Because in addition to the advanced grade Who's review, you can also check out on GundamReviews.net and on my YouTube channel. Well, if you think about it, I complained the first thing I did when I opened the box and said, oh, 2/3 is the same as the Age 1 normal. But with the Master Grade Age 1 normal coming, and then of course we're getting the Sparrow and the Titus, you know that Bandai put a lot of time into designing those plates so that they can get as much out of them as they can. So if you've got 2/3 of the high grade being identical, would it really be that hard to have the Adele show up? Thinking in story terms, we had the Genoas in the first generation, and it's still there, while the Genoas Custom is the Genoas 2 in the second generation. The Adele can last from the second generation into the third. I think that would certainly increase its chances of getting a Master Grade. But who would guess, if we're getting a Gaffran in 1/100th, you can imagine 1/100th non-grade, that this probably would get something, but Master Grade, I'd have to say that its Master Grade chances may seem a little bit high in my books. Anyway, everybody, why don't you let me know what you think of the review, of my speculation, and of the verdict itself. Love to hear from you, and let other people read all your comments so that you can know what they think of the Adele. Are you waiting for the Diva colors? Are you happy to have this and the other one? Will you be getting 2 Diva colors? Anyway, I will be getting the Diva one, at least one. I wonder if I'll get 2. Is a number on the chest enough to sell it on me twice? Anyway, stay tuned here to find out. I've had lots of fun putting this together, and I hope you've enjoyed watching it. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you next time. Lots more reviews of high grades, master grades, and everything in between. See ya. Look, I don't think anybody complained about the Master Grade Gym 2.0 being too repetitive. I mean, it does make sense that I get a Master Grade in the future.